On the news, everything sounds calm. The economy is resilient. Growth is on track. Markets are optimistic. Then you open your banking app after paying rent, groceries, gas, and a couple of bills. What you see is not optimism. What you see is a red line creeping closer and closer every month. This gap between the official story and your daily life is not a misunderstanding. It's a design. And in this video on Fog of Work, I want to talk about that design in plain language without fairy tales and motivational slogans. Because once you see what is really happening, a lot of your guilt and shame suddenly stops making sense. The truth is simple. We are not all living in the same economy. On the surface, it looks like one system, one set of rules. But in practice, there are two realities running in parallel. One reality for people who own things, and another for people who have to sell their time to those owners just to survive. In the first reality, wealth lives in assets. A house, a second house, a portfolio of stocks, a business, maybe a few rental units. These things grow in value while their owners sleep. When prices rise, they make money without doing anything extra. When interest rates stay low for long enough, their earlier bets pay off even more. When the stock market has a good year, it shows up as a bigger number in their account. In the second reality, wealth is limited to hours and energy. You have your body, your skills, and a job that pays you for pieces of your life. Your income stops when you stop. Your security is tied to the mood of a manager, the health of a company, or the next restructuring. When prices rise, nothing automatically compensates you. The rent goes up, the food bill goes up, the insurance bill goes up. Your salary moves slowly, if at all. Both realities exist in the same city and sometimes in the same building. One person sits upstairs watching their assets appreciate. Another person cleans the building and worries about next month's payment. On paper, they live in the same strong economy. In reality, their experiences have nothing in common. For decades, the system has been tuned to feed the first reality. Cheap credit, low interest rates, and friendly policies made it easy to buy and grow assets. If you already had a house, you could refinance, borrow against it, buy another property, or use it as leverage. If you already had money in the market, you had years of steady gains simply because the whole system was built to inflate financial assets. At the same time, wages followed a different path. Productivity went up. Technology allowed companies to squeeze more work out of fewer people. Boundaries between work and life disappeared, but pay increases were slow, conditional, and often eaten up by rising costs before they even hit your account. So while one group benefited from the structure itself, another group was told to compensate by working harder. Learn more, hustle more, wake up earlier, stay later, turn your hobbies into income, turn your rest into content, turn your energy into one more little stream of money just to keep up with the price of existing. This is where the psychological damage begins. You are told that everyone has the same opportunities. Social media is full of advice telling you to start investing, build passive income, or just buy a modest house. Stop wasting money on rent. Stop drinking coffee. Stop being lazy. But all of this advice assumes you had a starting point. It assumes you were born inside the first reality, or at least near its border. It assumes you had spare money at the end of the month. Spare time to explore, spare stability to take risks. If your salary barely covers your fixed costs, what exactly are you supposed to invest? If your rent eats half your income, what mortgage are you supposed to qualify for? If you're already exhausted from work and stress, what side business are you supposed to build in the remaining hours of your day? Instead of asking these questions, the system prefers a simpler explanation. If you're not getting ahead, it must be your fault. You're bad with money. You didn't plan early enough. You didn't pick the right career. You didn't grind hard enough. You didn't want it as much as the people on the thumbnails. This is convenient. It turns a structural issue into a personal failure. The more you blame yourself, the less you question the rules. You can see this split clearly between generations. Many older people entered the game at a completely different time. Housing was not cheap, but it was reachable with a single decent income. Tuition and basic costs were lower relative to pay. A stable job could support a family, a mortgage, and some savings. Over time, Their house values rose. Their pensions and investments rode decades of growth. Now, younger people are told to follow the same script: study, work hard, save, buy a place, build a future. But they are playing a different game with the same instructions printed on the box. Wages have not kept up with housing. Rent takes a massive share of income. Debt is a normal part of life, not a temporary obstacle. Entry into the owner reality is priced like an exclusive club. When someone from a different generation says, "We did it, so you can too," they are speaking from the first reality. Their ladder was resting on solid ground. Yours is sinking into mud. It doesn't mean they are bad people. It just means they experienced a version of the system that no longer exists. At the same time, politicians and executives stand in front of cameras and talk about strong fundamentals and healthy demand. They point at statistics, averages, and charts. They talk about consumer confidence, corporate earnings, and record profits. On their graphs, everything looks fine. But your life is not a graph. You don't live inside a percentage. You live inside rent payments, grocery receipts, medical bills, and hours of sleep you didn't get because you were worrying. When someone insists that everything is fine while you are quietly falling apart, it starts to feel like gaslighting. You hear that the economy is doing well and start doubting your own experience. If things are so stable, why are you so stressed? If everything is under control, why does every month feel more fragile than the last? The easiest answer is to assume that you are the problem. You did something wrong. You are behind. You are irresponsible. The truth is uncomfortable, but necessary. Your struggle is not proof of your failure. It is evidence that you are living in the second reality of this system. The reality where work is rented, not rewarded. The reality where your effort is treated as a cost to be controlled, while assets are treated as treasures to be protected at all costs. There is another lie buried in this structure: the idea that you can escape simply by working more. Extra hours, second jobs, side gigs, constant hustle culture. All of it still depends on the same limited resource: your time and your health. There is a ceiling you cannot break with effort alone. 24 hours in a day. A body that eventually refuses to keep going. A mind that burns out. Meanwhile, the people in the first reality do not depend on more hours. Their assets can grow without their direct involvement. That is the whole point of the system. It is designed so that money can start making money faster than people can. That's why someone's house can earn more in a year than another person earns working full-time. Not because one of them is morally better, but because the structure is tilted toward ownership, not labor. I'm not telling you this to make you hopeless. I'm saying it to pull you out of the trap of blaming yourself for conditions you did not create. If you keep believing that everything is fair, you will keep interpreting every struggle as a personal defect. Once you see the two realities clearly, your situation doesn't magically improve, but your mind stops attacking itself the same way. You can still make choices, still look for better options, still push for change in your own life. But you do it with open eyes. You understand that the problem is bigger than your morning routine or your discipline. You stop swallowing the shame that was never yours to carry. This is what Fog of Work is about. Naming the systems that quietly shape your life so you can stop thinking you are alone or broken. You are not broken. You are living in an economy that treats your life as a line in someone else's spreadsheet. If this gave you language for what you've been feeling, there are more videos on this channel that go deeper into things like wage slavery, the collapse of the middle class, and the way modern work turns your entire life into a performance just to stay afloat. Watch the next one when you're ready. The more clearly we see the fog, the less power it has over us,